Hey guys, Henry here again, back with another video. I thought today we could talk about menswear trends for spring and what you guys need to all know about going into spring and then heading into summer too a little bit. I think in general spring's always a really exciting time for dressing, just because you don't really have to worry quite so much about wrapping up warm. There's a bit of sun about, you can usually play around with a bit more colour, a couple different silhouettes, things like that, and it's not too hot, especially in London. So to begin, one thing that I'm really enjoying, and I think definitely was coming into fruition a bit this time last year or at the back end of summer last year, is the big shorts and big boots trend. It's definitely something that was filtering through women's wear a lot, either wearing big baggy shorts with a big high boot, usually like a black boot just to keep it simple, or cowboy boot. I think it's definitely something I'm going to try and experiment more with. I think it just adds a lot more texture and layers to an outfit that could be quite simple. Even just wearing, say, a button up with a pair of baggy shorts and boots just has a bit more going on. It's a lot more visually interesting. I think when it's a bit chillier as well now, it can look really good with a big hoodie or a jacket still, because then it balances out the fact that you're wearing shorts maybe a bit too early. And I think obviously layering up at the top definitely keeps you a bit warmer still. I think all in all, having a nice break, usually between sort of a mid boot or maybe just a sort of high top shoe, can be really good as well. It doesn't have to be quite such a big boot if you don't have those. That creates break in the fit that makes it a bit more interesting. Some of the short options that I really like, I think Comme des Garçons always do really good shorts for this, just the fact that they are a bit longer, perfect amount of wideness, not too baggy, but are a bit smarter too, so that fits well. I actually grabbed a cheap pair of Dickies, I think like a 15-inch short, and just removed all the logos off them so they looked a bit more clean, and they're going to be my go-to I think for this sort of trend, because they have a bit more weight to them. They're not quite as smart and maybe a bit more casual. And then of course you can go with your classic jorts. They always will fit with this very nicely. In terms of any boots, I think it can be cool if you're going all black wearing, say, a hiking boot, or then more of like an actual big leather boot. Cowboy boots are also an option. I think they probably are a bit more on the feminine side, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. Just maybe about balancing it or leaning more into that to then complement the rest of the fit. Moving on from this as well, I also think 3/4 are an option. And no, these aren't the ones that you'd see some people in when you were a kid from Slazenger and from Sports Direct, but I recently grabbed some military cargos that I want to copy what Owen Hyatt did, where he literally had them with the darted knee detailing, and he has just cropped them just below the darted knee and then opened that up, create a nice gap between the shoe / your sock and the rest of your outfit. And again, this is another one which I think layering it with some bulkier options on the top can balance it out really nicely, and then leaning into a bit more of a military aesthetic with this just helps complement everything perfectly, and it just makes what could be quite a basic fit just a bit more interesting by playing around with different cuts and different trims. Next up, spoke about layering a bit already, but I think double layering shirts is something I really want to see more of. This is definitely something I've seen on the runways filtering through, and I can see coming into fruition for this spring. I think it's been prevalent from the likes of Jill Sander and Bottega, and some of my favourite sort of style influences from the likes of Alexander Roth have already been playing around with this. I think you can pair it with, say, a standard shirt, then wearing it with a bit more of a utility shirt, and then go another step again and do like a shirt jacket over that. And by having these different layers in it, it can help keep you warm in those chillier times, but whilst also playing around with a different aspect of just throwing on, say, a shirt and nothing else. I think simply by having it layered, you can create these really cool like patterns in your outfit. I don't know how to explain it without showing some examples, which I'm sure I'll do. And it can be even something as simple as a short sleeve one over a long sleeve to then have that sleeve poking through and adding more colour and more texture to your outfit. Or you could layer one as buttoned up with an unbuttoned shirt over it. I saw a really cool picture on Pinterest, I can't remember what brand it's from, where they actually had a buttoned up shirt within a tie and then another shirt over it in the same colour but unbuttoned, so you had this tie peeking out and the shirt detailing below it, but it looked like it was all one cohesive piece, and it was really, really cool. I think also ties are definitely something that are coming around a lot more. There's loads of influencers, creators that have been playing around with this, and I think it's just another step into that sort of office core that's definitely big for women. I think it's office siren for them, but it's just incorporating a tie into what can complement, say, a more Tyler Creator-esque streetwear look, where a tie just makes it a bit more all-encompassing and rounds it out nicely. And I think, again, going into this a bit deeper, layering with vests and playing around with vests is really, really cool. Whether that be having a statement vest where you can actually wear it over, say, a mesh top or a long sleeve or a shirt in general, or then knitted vests as well, it just helps again add more depth to an outfit. I think it's a bit too plain nowadays, unless it's boiling hot, to just wear a wife beater and call it a day. Don't get me wrong, I think that can be a really cool basic fit, but especially in spring, it's not quite warm enough, especially in the UK, for you to be doing that yet. And I think it's really easy for it to look really unfashionable because some of these wife beaters get beat up very quick. I think the likes of Spencer Badu have really showed us how to do vests. I've recently bought one from Kiko that I really like. So this white panelled number, I'll pop a picture or maybe some video content of it here, which I've already started playing around with shirts under it. I'd say the one thing you need to make sure is that whatever you're wearing under a vest is thin, because having it too thick can actually like bulk it out a bit too much. Y Project have also gone as far as to twist the shoulder fabric area, and I'll show some pictures of that here. They've done a beautiful cotton short and cotton vest option. It's really, really cool and just puts an extra edge to it. And they have also done the invisible straps on a lot of vests, where I don't think I'm quite as bold enough to wear them myself, but they look great on anybody I've seen wearing them. Once again, if you're new around here as well, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe. It helps me out a great deal, and there's plenty more videos on the way. And then moving on once again, I think tiny shoes, in contrast to those boots, are really, really big. I can't shut up about them at the minute. I recently got the Marc Jacobs Heaven Kiko A6, quite a mouthful, I know, but they are predominantly a women's shoe. Managed to get them in my size and I just love them. You've got that sort of Mary Jane element to them, and I think this also ties into wearing things like the Margiela moccasin, where they're just really, really sleek leather shoe that you wear minimally with everything else, and it just helps balance out maybe having baggier options elsewhere, having a sleek toe box that either just creeps out from below your pleated trouser or your baggier trouser, or sits on its own with very minimal socks or almost no show socks, and then has a really nice break between a short and that shoe. I just think you either have to lean into that feminine side of the fit, or then go completely against the norm and be obnoxiously oversized with everything else. For instance, with those Heaven A6 ones I just chatted about, I pair them up with my Y Project jeans, my banana jeans, and they look so good because they are so over the top in contrast. I think it's just a breath of fresh air too. We've been so used to bulky shoes at the minute. It's just been the norm to have bulky footwear and bulky shoes down there, and having a sleeker shoe and a sleeker option just definitely helps create something new and refreshing overall. I think this is really picking up pace now, and I think it's been prevalent through the likes of Kiko's runway for Autumn Winter 24 too. You see Puma bringing about the Mostro, which I think is really cool. Even some vintage options in those, if you can find them on the likes of Depop and eBay, are great pickups. Some of the pairs that I really like in general from Puma have been the Puma Jill Sander collabs from the 90s. It's so annoying that they don't really do these anymore, but they just perfectly capture what I really like about the tiny shoes at the minute, so I really hope I can find a pair of those in my size. And I think as well, the likes of the Adidas Yoji stuff early on, before it would be Y3, has been picking up pace. I've seen a lot of creators grabbing those are great options for this. And then finally, I think the New Balance Miu Miu put a different take on it, a little less experimental and a bit more clean and easy for people to wear. And by having no sole or almost no sole at all on the bottom of them, it just really makes it a nice contrasting look. And then I think to wrap things up, spring's really good to start experimenting more with some accessories that can be a bit more of a standout piece, whether that be big bold bag numbers from the likes of Kiko, or more technical ones from Oakley, etc., or maybe just making a belt a big standpoint. There's been a bit of pace picking up around, pony hair belts, which I think are great statement pieces, or even big buckle belts that have been around for a long time. And also there's headwear, hats. You can still incorporate things like knitted hats. I've been grabbing a couple recently just to add a bit more flair and a bit more character to outfits. But really leaning into those options is a great choice, even if it's incorporating eyewear now, where it makes a bit more sense with it being sunnier. It just adds further detail. I think accessories can sometimes be a forgotten aspect of fashion, especially for guys. It's easy to ignore it because women in general have a lot more to play around with, but they really can just make a fit go from like a 6 or a 7 to an 8 or a 9 point, it's a big difference because it just makes it clear that you've put a bit more thought and a bit more care into how you're dressing, and it just adds more to it overall. I guess in summary then, I'm really excited for spring. Really hope that these trends are picking up, something that I'm definitely going to be incorporating into my wardrobe a lot more in the way that I'm dressing. But of course, I'd love to know what you guys are looking forward to in the comments. Let me know if there's anything you think I missed off or anything you want to highlight as something you think is going to pick up pace coming into spring, and let's get a bit of a discussion going on. As always, it's more than welcome. So thanks for watching again, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.